house, a brand new flow. Stories are brewing with Joe. Pull up a seat, let your truth unfold. Real talk, real hearts, real souls. It's coffee and conversations with Joe, where your voice has room to grow. No judgment, just love that flows. Coffee and conversation.
Good morning, y'all. Welcome into the one and only Coffee and Conversation. Y'all know the #1 podcast in Birmingham, Alabama. How y'all doing this morning? Your boy Joe is in the building, and I got a great guest in here for me. But before I get into the show, you got your cup of coffee? Y'all let me know where y'all chiming in at. You know, I got my guest let her try out my coffee, that cup of Joe. I'm gonna let her tell y'all about it. She's coming in, y'all. How y'all doing today? Y'all doing good? Let me take a sip of my cup of Joe. If y'all want to know where we are, let me put the coffee car. Of course, one of the best coffee shops in Birmingham, Alabama, right here on the south side. If you guys want to come in and watch the show, I don't know why you're not here. Y'all come on in, and I'll even pay for your coffee and give you a cup of Joe. So come on down and holler at your boy. But you know, before we get into the show, I want to know how y'all doing out there, and let us know where you're watching the show from, what you're drinking, what kind of coffee, and then I'll tell you about my lovely first coffee a little bit later on the show. That's cool. All right. So you know, I got a new segment on the show that I have with my friend. She my show girlfriend. Been trying to holler. Hey, Lisa.
Good morning.
Ooh, look at that woman, y'all. Can you call my name? Can you say my name? Say my name.
Joe Lockett.
Ooh, I don't even want to do the show no more. Hey, baby, how you doing? What's up, Lisa? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
You know something? I am doing awesome because the guest that we have on the show today, listen, we've been trying to get her on. We're going to tell y'all the story a little bit later, but she's in the building. I've been trying to get her on since last year. She's finally here. So I'm super happy about that, Lisa.
I'm excited too. I can't wait to hear this conversation.
What you been up to? How's you been?
I've been working.
Well, you know, I want to say thank you to all our listeners out there that came out to our Valentine's Day event. It was good.
It was really good.
And the food at 1918, man, listen, they had us fish, we had chicken, we had pasta, we had cupcakes, we had cake, okra. Am I missing anything?
Don't forget those strawberries.
Oh yeah, the strawberries, the fruits. I want to thank
delicious.
Carmine Communication for being the sponsor of that event. Thank you for all the ladies that came out. And I got me a couple of doggy bags to take with me, and I was full. That food was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
1918 catering. You did your big one with that food.
They handled it.
Spinach dip.
Yeah, spinach dip. Yeah, I didn't get none of that.
Yes, it was good.
I didn't get none of the spinach dip. But you know, some beautiful women in there. And they all came to see Neely's. They all came. Yeah, they came to see your boy. They came to see me. I was so happy.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The house was full of beautiful women.
Yes.
Who proudly stated that they love
Joe Lockett.
They love them first.
Oh. Then Joe Lockett.
Yeah, then you.
But you know something? The good part about it was I couldn't celebrate Valentine's Day. But I was able to celebrate Valentine's Day, and I had more women than all y'all did. Nah, how about that?
So we're working on that. So Joe has made a public declaration that he's looking for a special friend. So ladies, if that's you, get in those comments, not his DM, because we want to see you. We got to finish. Get in those comments and drop a line and say, Joe, that's me. We'll vet you. And we may even pop the balloon to see who's going to be Joe's special friend. Anybody want to be Joe's special friend?
I'm just saying.
Now, Joe, you going to tell us what a special friend entails? What does that involve?
Honestly, y'all, cup of coffee, hang out every once in a while. Ain't none of that hanky-panky stuff. Just be friends. Honestly, just looking for somebody for companionship. That's it.
Ladies,
that's it. Because see, a lot of men, you know, a lot of women think the first thing you want to do is go to the bed. I ain't talking about that. I'm just talking about, you know, sometimes you want somebody you can trust and you can go out with. And know that I'm not trying to hit on you, you ain't trying to hit on me. We just trust each other, have a nice dinner, a nice conversation.
Okay. So you offering a safe space.
That's what we're gonna call it. SS safe space.
Yes.
Safe space. Let's do that.
All right, ladies, there you have it. Joe Lockett. We're gonna document it today, February 18th. He put it out there. He's looking for a special friend
Safe
to
space.
create a safe space.
All right, guys. Get it your boy. If this don't work, I'm going on Facebook Date Mark. I'm just saying. Anyway, y'all, we have a magnificent guest in the building today. I am honored to have her on the show. You know, we do a lot of women of influence on the show. This is the show is about empowering women. That's why I named my coffee Love You First. This lady here has a story to tell. I am super proud of her for all the accomplishments that she has made and the things that she's doing for the city. I know y'all probably wondering if I'm talking about, because if you have not watched our promos, which you should be following us on social media, go out to YouTube, LIM Network, follow us there, follow us on Facebook at Joe Lockett or Joe Lockett Show. Google me, okay? And you'll see my show, all right? But back to the lady that this is the hour of our legal hour. She's a mom, she's a leader, and I call her my friend. The one and only, the honorable Miss Councilman Tate. Councilman Tate, how you doing?
Good, Joe. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Finally, we are here.
Councilman Tate. Councilman Tate. Y'all know the day she got elected, right? She's supposed to be coming here.
That is so.
Supposed to be there, hollering at your boy.
Thank you.
And the story of my life, she stood me up.
You don't stand to go to. Let me make that.
But
That is
but let me say this: her team did tell me that she was going to try to make it about it because she just got elected, re-elected that night, and you know, you was busy. But grab that coffee because I got to do something for you. Congratulations!
Thank you.
You did your thing. How you been doing?
I've been good. But let me just put this disclaimer out here. This coffee is great. This is a smooth cup of Joe is good. And I learned that it had ginger, turmeric, and honey.
Mhm.
Two good natural ingredients. But this is really good.
Thank you. So, Councilman Tate, I know a lot of people know you, but some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go here first. Born and raised here in Birmingham, Alabama.
Born and raised in Birmingham. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What high school did you go to?
I-
Elementary.
Phillips High School, Red Raider.
Okay.
Red Raider Nation.
Okay. Elementary.
Macon, LP Macon.
SD man. Good.
Right there by the amphitheater.
Were you good in school? Bad in school?
I was good.
You was really good in school?
I was good. I was mischievous, but I was good.
You
What I wanted to do.
two parent household.
My father and mother were not married, but my mom was a postal worker.
Okay.
She retired from the post office 34 and a half years, and my dad was a carpenter by trade.
Mhm.
And so we lived in California on that side of the family. The Patrick family was out of Collegeville.
Mhm.
So I came from good stock. A lot of my people that know my Collegeville roots, they know my dad, they know my uncles, they know my aunts.
Mhm.
They know all of it, even on my Tate side. There's 8 of them. They knew my grandfather, my grandmother, who was married for 65 years. My
Mm.
grandfather retired from the Pacific Coast Pipe Shop. And, just was a good family man that raised his family, our family values. So I just carried, all of that was instilled in me.
Stepdad.
My mom was married
Okay.
for about 11 years.
How was that for you? Do you have brothers and sisters?
I had 3 brothers.
Okay, so where do you fit in there?
I'm the oldest. So really, I got 5 because my dad, when he married, he married his wife, had a son, and they had a son together.
So let me ask you this: how is that dynamic at home, having a stepfather, with the kids? How was that for you? You was the only girl.
That didn't stop anything because I knew who my dad was, and I knew who my extended found my dad's side because I had a great relationship with my father's side. So I would always go and fly to California every year. My mom would put me on a plane, and a 10-year-old stewardess watching me and making sure that they handed me off to my dad, and I was flying to LAX. So I was flying in and out of California from the age of 10.
So you had to really actually spend real good time with your father.
My father lived in Oxnard, California, and I would fly there every summer.
Wow.
Yep.
So let me ask you this thing. I let a smile go on your face about your dad. I see that, bro. Are you mad as you?
Yeah.
I kind of figured that because you look like my daughter when she talked about her dad. That part right there. That right there. Yeah.
My dad has never, as we call it, whipped me.
Mhm.
I'm the oldest of everybody.
Okay.
And so my dad, he knew who his daughter was, and
Right.
He didn't ever talk. If he had some old children, he didn't tell me. I have a brother with you.
What did your father, one thing that you can say that your father taught you that you still remember to this day?
My dad taught me what his dad taught him is to make sure you love on people and treat people like you want to be treated. So that stuck with me because my grandfather was a piece of late John Hatcher. You can drive through college and you'll see this sign that says "Living of my granddad," which he was a person that helped marginalize and they lived in college with them. And so John, our big John, at that time voting was a popular. My grandfather registered over 10,000 people to vote back in the late 60s. And he started the Young Democrats in North Birmingham. And so my uncle, the late John R. Hatcher III, followed in his footsteps and worked for the NAACP for 65 years.
So you kind of brought up in politics game.
But I wasn't into that, but I knew that there was a part of me.
What did little Tate want to be when she grew?
Little Tate was a nurse.
You want to be a nurse?
Yes, I always wanted to be a nurse.
Okay.
With the LPN school, my goal was to go to get my nursing license.
Okay.
But I tell people we can plan and unplan, but God has a way of planning your life.
Very true.
So my son was arrested and got sentenced to Alabama Department of Corrections. And so at that time I was a nurse that graduated from Beverly State. But God changed my whole trajectory. I was both students my degrees in criminal justice. I have a master's and a bachelor's in criminal justice administration and security. So, you know, all through that transition, it gave me an opportunity to learn what social justice issues were about, which I knew, but it gave me a deeper dive.
So before we get to that, because I want to work you up there. You was leaving high school, graduated from there. What college did you go to?
I started out at Jacksonville State University, and at that time I had a baby. So let me back up. So during the time when I was traveling back and forth to California, I got pregnant when I was 16. I had my son when I was 17.
Okay, so look, so Destiny, you trying to jump way, so we're gonna go back. Okay, so
I need to take it back and bring us up.
Yeah. So what was that like for you? So next to this, if you don't want to talk about, you can say, hey, bag off, Joe. I bag off. Was the baby dad in California or was it in Alabama?
He was here in Alabama.
It was in Alabama.
Well, at that time, you know, I was thinking that I let my dad down, but my dad was very, you know, embracing of, you know, and telling me I hadn't done anything no more than anybody. Don't worry about it. You know, make sure that the child is, you know, taken care of. My son was well taken care of.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that scary for you?
It was scary being a teen mom. Most teen moms fall through the crack, but I did. You know, I had a baby, went off to college, left my baby. You know, even though I was down in Jacksonville, Alabama. Right. So my grandmother would keep him in the daytime when my mom went to work. My mom would keep him. I would call home every day and check on him. I would come home on the weekends. And I remember my friend Tracy Streeter that graduated with me. She had a deuce and a quarter.
Not a deuce and a quarter.
We would be flying up 20 coming, you know, home,
right.
You know, so I could see. And then it just got, you know, I just felt like my baby, he knew who I was, but I just was feeling like I needed to be there. And then that's when I transitioned, started going to Lawson State. And then I left Lawson and went to Beverly State. I said, let me go and get the little LPN. And I tell people this story. Even when I went to nursing school, I was on a 90-day temporary license. I can pass the boards. I did.
I want to get to the nursing, but I kind of want to go back here because there are young women who know who you are. You Councilman Tate now, right? No one knows the feeling and the emotions and the struggle you had to get through to become that woman. So I want to go back to where you were 16 and you found out the day you were pregnant. Who did you tell first? Okay. And when did you tell your mom or did you tell your dad, or did they find out?
Well, you know, all people have intuitions, as we used to call it. Now, I grew up in a tight family, so all always be my mom. Everybody up in. And so my grandmother, you know, dreamed about some fish, so we was all, you know, in the den. And we was all that ain't me. And I didn't know. You know, I really didn't know that I was, you know, pregnant. I did because I was still, you know, having you know,
Amazing.
with Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And so when I did find out, I was like 4 months.
Okay.
Because I would see all the time in my aunt, at that time, my aunt was living in, and I would be from my grandmother's house to my aunt's house. And I was going to school in the same clothes. You couldn't tell.
Right.
And then I would come home every day and fall asleep in my own house. So she had this recliner. She was like, why you come here sleeping every day? And she was like, I hope ain't none of y'all please. So God, I was God, and I really was.
Did anybody dream of fish? Because back in
My
the
grandma,
day,
she was the one coming.
because I don't know if that's true or not, right? But it's an old saying back in the day,
It's a
right?
whole-
Somebody would say, somebody said, I'm dreaming of fish, and somebody become
And the way
pregnant.
my his sister, they told him, because I hadn't told him.
Right,
And
right.
then he finally called,
Mm-hmm.
and we had that dad-daughter conversation.
What was it?
I was kind of scared to talk to my dad. And he was like, it's going to be all right. You do it. The baby going to be fine.
Right.
And so he assured me that. And I never lost the relationship that I had with my dad, even being a teen mom.
Right.
I mean, it grew close, and then my dad moved him as like divorced, and we moved back to my man. So I got to spend just that intricate time because his ex-wife, they were from Camp Hill, Alabama. My brother his family lived in Camp Hill. And my dad would, go spend a lot of time, my brother and my nieces and his wife, they were college sweethearts. And so it gave me an opportunity to spend more time with my dad because he was on Alabama sober. And so in 2015, my brother suddenly died from an asthma attack. And he was in politics too. He was the first one to be elected to the city council in Camp Hill. And he was the interim mayor, the mayor for a little while in Camp Hill. Yeah. So we just stand on the shoulders of my grandfather and my late uncle. Yeah.
So at the age of 16, because I remember being 16, and I was about trying to face everything. But at 16, I guess when you're 17, you have the kid. You're holding your son and your at 17. What was that feeling like when you looked into that baby? Or do you remember it?
I was very active in school. I was in the band. I played basketball. I ran track. But I think what really hit me hard is when you were singled out in school for being a teen mom. And I remember the people that were over the band, they looked down on females that had babies because it was like he was a bad influence. And my mom had to go all the way to the board because it was, they were not trying to let me back on flag.
Did you stay through term? Because I know a lot of times, I remember when I was in school, if I'm not mistaken, at a certain stage in pregnancy, they were removing from the school.
Yes, I went to the little yellow school that everybody know called Slossville.
Yeah, I didn't know where it was, but I remember when there was.
It's literally, I can
Okay.
look out my front door of my house because where I live, the old Lewis School is now the Salvation Army. And so Slossville, those yellow buildings, it's like literally right across the street.
Right.
So I did go there.
Okay.
And then after I had my baby, I went back into the mainstream, went back to school. And I wasn't treated no different. I still had good friends, but the thing that they tried to do is they tried to remove me from that. And my mom had to fight for it. We really didn't have to fight because it was nothing in a law stating that if a young woman became pregnant, she could participate in extracurricular activities. So I chose not to, continue my flag girl.
You a flag girl?
Of course.
You was a flag girl?
Popping them
Okay.
flags. So I chose not to do that, because I felt that my time needed to be spent for my baby because band required a lot.
What's the name?
His name is Tadarius.
Tadarius, my man.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
So, you being a teenage mom and growing up with him, y'all like grew up together.
Yes. Well, he knows that I'm his mom.
Right.
He tended to have, like, you my mom, but I'm gonna tell my grandmother because you're doing something to me that I don't like.
Right.
And
So,
he was the first one. Yes.
so he's forceful. He's super forceful. What college did you go to?
I started out at Jacksonville, got my LPN diploma from Bevel State.
Okay.
And then when I started pursuing higher education, after college got so, untraditional, where you can go to college on Saturdays, I went to Faulkner, and then I transitioned to online. So my degrees are from the University of Phoenix. My bachelor is from the University of Phoenix with a criminal justice administration, with a degrees in criminal justice, and my master's is from the University of Phoenix. And I got my master's in 14 months, and I was working a full-time job.
So let's unpack that because you said a lot there, Councilman Tate, because a lot of women watching this, right? Again, you're Councilman Tate to them. So a lot of young ladies, okay, you did this, but you did a lot to get to college. So again, you don't have to answer these questions if you don't want to. Let's talk some conversation about it. When you was in college and you were going through all these things, was it because of financial difficulty you was changing, or was it because working, or because of taking care of your child? Does it seem like you kept going, and was there gaps in between stuff? How did it work?
It was gaps. Like, you know, I graduated from LPN school in 93. I was working a full-time job at St. Vincent Hospital in surgery.
Okay.
And I was going to school full-time.
Okay.
And so, again, I graduated from nursing school. I was on a temporary nursing license for 90 days because that's all the state of Alabama do is 90 days.
Okay.
I tell people, I'm very transparent. I did not pass the board. Most of my friends with the nursing school with me, still in nursing today, passed the board. And it's not a statute of limitations. If I want to go take my nursing boards today, I can. But I don't have a desire because once I got into it, I said you can unplan, but God can unplan. And my son got arrested, and I wanted to find out why so many African American men were sitting in the Alabama prison because I wasn't, you know, we weren't kids that went to jail or got in trouble, so that changed my whole outlook.
Is that why you quit nursing?
That's why God drove me into criminal justice, so I can get into. I can tell you this story. This is a true story. I was going to see my son one Saturday.
Before you go talk to stuff how you get your son, how did your son? Why was your son arrested? Was it because you were working too much? He was in the wrong place at the wrong time?
He got rebellious, and it wasn't that he wasn't raised right. He was raised very well.
You raised very still getting trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. So was he the type of person that, I guess at the end of the day, what's the best way to say it? Came from a good home, but wasn't listening and was doing things and taking advantage of the situation because mom was busy working, right?
Well, he had his grandmother, but I tell people, don't ever say that your kids are not doing. Please don't say, because you don't know what they're doing when they're not in your eyesight. You can only hope that they're doing what they have been raised to be. And so he got rebellious and he thought he was wrong.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, what did he get arrested for?
Robbery.
Wait a minute. Huh?
Okay.
Huh? Babe. You know, on the wrong side of the thing? Was he participating or just having been in the wrong place at the wrong time?
He was happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And accountability, I'm big on, you don't get a pass from me. Because what I had to remind him is the only way you gonna heal, I'm gonna heal. I wouldn't talk about his incarceration. That was off the bracket. Because people don't realize this incarceration hurts families. And not only does it hurt families, it hurts you. And so if you begin to question, you know, what I did wrong, what did I do right, or what. And then I'm also say this to you too, Joe. We got to be careful what we speak out of our mouth on our kids too. We got to be very careful because words are power. The atmosphere take your words and it'll manifest.
Hold on just one. Why am I getting this feedback? Nephew, that's the feedback going on. We got a feedback going on. Y'all got that? Okay. All right.
The atmosphere. I mean, we got to really be careful what we really say out of our mouth. And I use this scenario as if we can speak negative things out of our mouth and it manifests, think about walking in a positive light and then what you want for your life to be manifest. And I really had to, you know, apologize to my son for some things that I said to him. You know, I said, you're going to end up in prison. I said it. I did say it.
Oh, so basically what you were saying, when he was doing things, you were speaking into an existence. Okay, we got to talk about that. I understand what you're saying, but I don't know if I 100% agree with you because he was already doing the action. So it wasn't, his action wasn't because of what you said. You was just going by the reality of what, if you keep doing this, it's not a great place to be. So I don't think he's spoken into existence. as a person listening to him? Because he was already doing actions before you said it.
I think we have the power to shift, even if we've spoken something, that we have the power to shift, on the right trajectory and really watch what we really say. Because I see it too many times. And, not just with my son, but I'm just like things that happen. Like it's not coincidental. And then you have to sit back and think about, oh, I said that. Yes, you did.
So let's go here. You had to tell your father and your mom at 16
Yeah.
you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, or have you ever had that conversation with your son? Like, what was it like when he knew that his mom was gonna find out that he had got arrested?
It was a hurtful feeling for him. It was scary. You got an only child who is not accustomed to being in situations. Because when you go, and I tell people this today, when your son or daughter get arrested, they're a ward of the state. All you are on paper is just a point of contact. That's a different beast. From county jail to courtroom, that's a different beast. And we don't understand the system. Like most people think, like, okay, they're gonna get out. You always see people say free this person, free that person. No, it ain't simple. It ain't simple. If people haven't watched the Alabama Solutions, I challenge you to watch the Alabama Solutions. If you haven't watched that documentary, I challenge people to watch it. You can see in real time what is going on in that Alabama prison system. The United States has the highest incarceration rate of any nation. And in this country, you are proven guilty before, you're going to have that.
You're proven guilty before you're guilty until you're proven innocent.
That's what it say. But we already guilty off the rip. And so most families, marginalized families, don't have, funds or money to make bail. I just happen to be blessed where I was able to have, was able to have 2 attorneys for my son. And he made bail. Yes. But he went out there and got into something else. So that locked the bond.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Well,
really?
not another.
But he still got in trouble.
But you was around the wrong people. So when you're out on bond, you have to be clear of anything.
Right.
Yeah. So definitely want to drop that a little bit, to your listening audience. Most people, when I look at my life, a lot of people didn't have a lot of the roles and the avenues and means that I was awarded. Because it's different. I wasn't on no public assistance.
Yeah.
My mom had Blue Cross Blue Shield. I had my son at St. Vincent Hospital. He went to a private doctor. All that. But that's not what most young women do. They have to get on the system. They have to go to the health department. They have to add it, through the brain. I didn't travel in that lane because my family structure, was different.
So, because the son got incarcerated, was that your determining factor? Like, forget this nursing, I'm going into law?
Well, again, I still wanted to be a nurse, but God was saying something different.
Okay.
He was saying something totally different. I can remember when I was going to see him one Saturday. And during that time, I really had committed myself, my spiritual walk with God is I need to get close. Because I tell people, if you got your child or people that's in these systems, it ain't no simple prayer. Your language got to change. Your whole language got to change in your prayer life. And so that's when you start walking and when you really tune in, that's when I really knew what my calling was in the ministry. One of my strong callings is intercession.
What?
Intercession.
Okay.
And so you learn where you are in the spiritual walk. And so that was one of my callings, intercession. So you can't
explain it because for people who don't know that.
You can't pray no now, lay me down to sleep. You can't do that. Your language has to change. So your praise will confuse the enemy. And so it was just situations, that I had to really just be on my face, fast, and all of that. Because my son was in a place that he just wasn't accustomed to.
Yeah.
People lose their life in prison every day. And so, I was just determined to, get my life on track. But I knew in order to get on track, and I remember going to see him on Saturday, I ran out of gas. I wasn't even paying my gas, even no attention. And I can remember I was right in Columbia And the police came, I was just sitting in my car, boo hoo. And I told myself, I'm out of gas. I said, I got money. So they took me, got some gas, gas up, and I can remember driving to the correctional facility. God told me, so I'm going to use you to set the captive.
Hearing this story, right, it makes me want to, I'm kind of walking visually through what you were going through. And as you was going to go see your son for the first time, as a mom, right?
Maybe so.
But I want to talk about the first time the first time you went to go see your son, because I can only imagine, I'm thinking of my daughter. If that happened to me, and I'm a grown man, and my daughters are behind bars, and me having to go see my daughters behind bars, with me even thinking about that now, it makes me feel sort of kind of emotional. But those are my babies. How old were you when you had to go see your son behind bars?
May have been in my 30s, like in my late 30s.
Late 30s?
Me and my mom.
What was that? Did you feel like you had failed?
You know, I always feel like
What
you
was that
did
feeling?
something wrong. It's just like even going to where we went to go see him, which was in Clayton County, Adventures Correctional Facility.
Okay.
You had to be dressed a certain way. And if you had like my mom had a dress on, she didn't have a skirt on.
Mhm.
And so I was dressed, I think I was dressed correctly, but it was something. But anyway, I met another family on the journey. A good friend of mine, who's still friends today, but he is charged with the same thing. His brother played professional football for Philadelphia, Indianapolis Colts. He played for the Colts. And we're still friends today.
Wow.
And they happen to have a pair of pants, and they probably gave it to my mom. If that was the case, my mom wouldn't have been able to go in. But just going in there and seeing my son, it was like my heart was swollen. And then I'm looking around the room and seeing all these records. We see moms, people that had seen their kids. There's a lot of young folks in there. And so that was a really hurtful feeling. Very, very hurtful. Even my son was sentenced to what they call in Alabama split sentence. But as I started learning the judicial process, that's a sentence. Because if you violate or you get any type of disciplinary, all of that is reported up to the judge. And the judge can call you back to court and revoke your sentence. And that's what happened with my son. 8 months before he was to be released, he got a citation for being in an unauthorized area inside the institution. And it got back to the judge. He called him and he revoked his split. So they put him on a straight 20. So in Alabama, in order to make parole, you have to serve 5 years before you even eligible for parole. At that time, I had left Birmingham and I had gotten hired with the Florida Department of Corrections as a probation and parole officer. So now I'm sitting in this powerful role where I was the law enforcer. And then I'm watching people that had the same type of crime my son had, but I was working in Florida and they were on probation in Florida. And now if I wanted to be mean, I could have upset a lot of people's lives, but that's not what God sent me there for. He sent me to be a beacon in people's lives. Because I think we have to really, when we in positions like this, it's all about humanity, dignity. Because it could be you sitting in that chair. You ain't no better than them people. So you have to treat people with dignity and respect. And with my thing, I've always told people that sat in front of me that was sentenced to probation, is this is your baby, you birthed it. It's up to you to kill it.
No.
But my goal is to make sure that you are complying with the conditions of your supervision. That's my job, and I gotta do it.
So if we have some people listen to us, and their son or daughter find themselves in that situation, because I'm going to get to the great things and the great consultative, but I want to make sure that when I'm having coffee conversations that we're having along the way. What is the first thing that a parent should do if they find a kid in a situation that they have done something wrong or possible? What is the first thing a parent should do?
I'm always say this: do not say what your kids are not doing because you don't know what they're not doing when they're not in your presence. But I'm just telling people, pay attention to your kids' movement, how, if they have changed, what they're doing, what they're accustomed to doing, and get nosy. Because now social media, running everything.
Right.
And then when they start getting rebellious or doing things out of the norm, you got to really do some deep dive. And I really tell people, keep the kids busy.
Yeah.
Because it is so much in the world that can steer them on the wrong track. Now, when you look at what's going on now, most of the kids are getting in trouble at 16-year-olds. In the state of Alabama, you can be tried as an adult.
At 16?
Yes.
At 16?
Yes.
I thought it was 18.
No. You go out there and pull a gun on and shoot somebody.
And
You
they
can
try
be
you as
charged
an
with
adult
capital murder.
at the age of 16.
Yes. Mhm.
Wow.
Your brain ain't even developed. You can't even really understand what's really happening with
Right,
you. And capital murder carries life or death. Yeah,
At 16.
20 to life in prison.
Wow.
So imagine going to prison at the age of 16.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have some Supreme Court rulings that protect juveniles, right?
Right.
But I just tell parents, please pay attention to what your kids doing. Don't say, don't be letting your children run with anybody. You gotta vet families. You gotta vet who people are dealing with.
Getting your kids wrong.
Yeah, stop getting in kids off. Don't just turn your kids away and think that they so wrong that they know what they're doing. No. Don't do that.
How's your son today?
Good. He's good.
Been on the business?
Yeah,
Learn the
it's busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know,
still have to stay on him though.
but because I know when people see him, I don't want to just paint that bad light on him. So he's doing his thing now. He's out and about doing
He's
it.
out and about, but I still have to kind of he's not doing things that to get him in situations. But I still have to kind of remind him he's still a black male in the United States of America.
Gotcha. So you was a parole officer.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you do that for?
Almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years.
Going to 9 years. At 6 years, I was vested.
Mm-hmm.
And then it changed when the Senate now that's in the Senate in D.C., Rick Scott, he was the governor of Florida then.
Okay.
He became the governor, so that changed. 10, he was vested up to 10, but I was grandfather because 6 years I was already vested.
Yeah.
So 9.5 years. I didn't go there to do a long time. I went there to do 10. Because I've never had law enforcement as a career, but I was thirsty, into
that.
So, and it wasn't by what I wanted to do. It was what God was thirsting me to do. And it was a good run.
So as I'm listening to your life, right, it's always been some type of life of service, right? Either you taking care of people or you in roles when you're getting people, right, and showing people what to go do. I have to ask you this now because I know this is what people want to come to any. What made you want to jump into politics?
And to be very transparent with you,
I would hope you would be.
It was
Be honest.
it was a prophecy that was spoken in my life over 20-some years ago. See, I tell people we can plan, unplanned, walk in disobedience, and God will strip you down. After I retired, I got a beach cleaning business in Florida.
Okay.
I didn't think about no criminal justice. I didn't think about none.
Yeah.
I wanted to do me and what I wanted to do.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't living in Birmingham. I was living at that time. I was living in Montgomery.
Okay.
And I was moved from Montgomery to Prattville. I was love Montgomery, love Prattville, love it. And so I got, when I was working, most of the people that I supervised, there's tourism. So everybody worked at the beach.
Okay.
And my people that I supervised, they were making more money than me.
Right.
What is going on the beach? So I just went on the beach, took a little tour. I was like, because I had never been to the number 30 and the letter A, which is Walton County. It's the Puniac Springs, and a lot of people
The who, where? What?
It's called the Puniac. Joe, you have been to Florida.
I have. I live in Florida.
Have you been to,
I live in Orlando.
have you been to Destin?
No. Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. I have been to Destin. Yeah.
How do you go to Destin, Florida when you go?
I drove.
You drove?
Yeah.
So do you go over the Mid-Bay Bridge or do you go through Sunpay?
I would go by Google Maps.
I know you go by Google Maps.
Don't ask me what bridge I'm on. Shit, I don't
So
know.
the Mid-Bay Bridge is 331 is what we call it.
Okay.
And most people drive 10 and get off. People not even paying attention, but it says the Funiac Spring, it puts you on 331.
Okay.
And so Highway 98, it brings you from Pensacola to Panama City to Crestview, Tallahassee, to run you all the way up.
Okay.
And so when you get on the beach part, it's called the number 30 and the letter A.
Gotcha.
And so you got all these different beach areas, Watercolor, Water Sound, Rosemary Beach. So I got into the beach swing a bit.
Okay.
And I got 11 beach houses.
Okay. Making that money.
Making that money.
Making that paper there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I was like, I'm seeing her. The Moran had dropped in our office. I can see her babysit.
Right.
And I can come down here one day a week on the Saturday
Uh-huh.
and roll out the pound of cash that I'm rolling every week.
Common sense kicked in.
I said, let me go home. So retiring kicked in real fast. I looked at my little money I had saved.
Right,
I
right.
said, I'm out.
Okay.
I was leaving anyway at the end of December.
Right.
But my supervisor got a little shade. I said, honey, I pulled that ready. I said, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. And so the elevation came.
Okay.
So I started with 11 and then I got more. Then I got comfortable. So I tell people, you start a business, don't ever put your baby in nobody's hand.
No.
Take care of your business.
Yes.
And I had to learn from. But God had given me a whole different thing to do when I retired. He wanted me to be a voice for mothers, kids that was incarcerated, and start telling the story. And then that's when the healing and all began to take place. He wanted me to go into more of re-entry. Get a nonprofit, do re-entry, all the above. I did.
Okay.
And so I lost my country. But in the process of losing the country, I was okay, but I wasn't okay. And then the Lord said, see, that ain't what I told you. That's not what I told you to do.
Right.
And even losing the country, God He restored. And I can remember I was at home, sitting on the couch, and God said, get on the computer. I said, get on the computer. And I kept procrastinating. He said, get on the computer. Got on the computer.
Did you say computer?
Get on the computer. So I got on the computer and I saw this opportunity with the Open Society Foundation, which is it was founded by George Soros. If you don't know who George Soros is. Yes. I applied for a fellowship. Actually called some people that I know had got the fellowship. They talked, told me about, hey, I think you should do it. I remember writing a vision board. One of the places I wanted to go was New York. Had never been to New York. And when I applied, I was sitting at home with the kitchen table talking to my mom. I had moved back to Birmingham then. And I tell people you can be happy on the outside, but inside was a torn female. You would have never known. And at that time I was driving a Range Rover. I drive a Range Rover. People, I like your car, but every time you saw me, I was always smiling. But I was very torn. I couldn't find no job. People looking at my qualifications, they didn't want to pay me. So I tell people, I said, when you go into Walmart, you see those displays. I was working those type of jobs. I'm not making no money.
I got to go here with this. I'm seeing the story, and I looked online and I didn't see this. How can I say? Have you ever been married?
No.
No.
Hey.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Because I'm hearing, because when I looked online, I couldn't find it, but I wasn't for sure. And I said, we're doing an this interview. Was there not time? Was there not a suitor? Because you did so much. You're a beautiful woman, right? Did you put your career over love?
Pretty much. Yeah. Not saying that I could have been, but I chose not.
Listen, I'm looking at you. I know you could have been married. Okay, I know you've had a couple of proposals. So I'm not saying that. I just want to know, did anybody ever put the ring on the thank God? Didn't ever. So you just decided to go ahead and do it alone.
I just, put my business out there like that, but I'm good.
I
I'm
got
good.
no. I put your business out there. I don't see a ring on your finger. So
I'm
I
good.
wanted to ask you a question. So when you going along and you got into politics, what was your entry way into politics?
Well, let me take you to that.
Talk to
Because
me.
that was almost an assignment that was about to be aborted. One of my brothers has a very strong prophetic anointing on him.
Okay.
And so let me take you to how I got it. I actually came out of retirement. I was about to leave Birmingham again.
Okay.
So I shut that door. He kept saying that ain't what I told you to do.
Mm.
Shut the door. I actually got refunded with the Florida Department of Corrections. They could move me to Tallahassee. I was gonna be working in Leon County. Very excited to be back on Florida soil.
Mhm.
That wasn't it. That was not it. But let me get you to even losing the douche cleaning business. I won the fellowship. Came with 6-figure income. So it's restored. Out of that, the Alabama Justice Initiative was birthed. I'm the CEO and the executive founder of a nonprofit organization that our mission is we organize around mass incarceration, probation, and parole practices in Alabama. That was my project. So out of 36 people, 16 of us were chosen. 36 of us went to New York, and I was one of the ones that were chosen. So then I got in line. So the politicking thing was a prophetic word that I got from my brother. Because I had came out of retirement to go back to work. So I shut that door. My brother said, you can't leave Birmingham, you got work to do. He said, then when you do your work, you can go anywhere you want to go. You can do Spain if you want to. And he was like, I remember these just like I'm sitting here talking to you. I was going up steps, he was coming down. He spent around, he said, sis. I said, yeah. So you got to run for city council. I said, damn, lost your mind, give these people my bill. He said, what business you got? Everybody knows some of them kids, it ain't like you were raised and you was out there in the streets and you got a bad life.
Yep.
And I almost aborted that assignment.
What you did?
But I did.
Did you win the first one?
I got my run. But I did win.
So you did win the first one.
Yes.
So you haven't lost since you started.
No.
So being in the, so you started as a counselor?
I started as the city council person. I beat the incumbent
Okay.
and won the seat, but I beat him in a runoff.
Okay.
And then this second time, the incumbent came back to challenge, and I beat him in a runoff again.
What do you think got you over the hump?
I think the people and me being genuine. Because one of the things I didn't do is when I was knocking on people's doors, I knocked on over almost 11,000 doors. I didn't go to your door lying to you. I didn't go making you no promises. I can get your road paved. I can clean it. I didn't do that. I went sincere, telling people that I'm going to work with you. I'm going to work with the mayor. And we're going to get it done. And it's going to take time.
Is it hard being a councilwoman in your job? Is this a tough job for you because of the demand of what people are asking for you and what people's expectations? And being in politics, there are things you want to do, but because you're in politics, you can't do it because you got to work with a group of people, right? How tough is that for you, being a woman in a room full of men sometimes, to get your word out and then be able to move things forward?
It's tough. And then, I've been in a nonprofit space where you got a lot of men that are leaders in the monogamous behavior. You just bust through that because women are coming up. We own it. We walk in the room and we own the room.
Well, this is what the platform is.
They just have to respect that. And so it's a way to push. It's a way to push through monogamous behavior.
Wait a minute. What you think? They just going to have to respect that.
Because women doing. I mean,
They are. Y'all
you look at what is changing. It's a woman always at the top of changing something.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. And this last cycle, I have to say there was a lot of women we getting them on the tail here. And you're part of being influencing women that came this last cycle. Why do you think now is the time for women to rise up in politics?
I mean, now it's a time when you go back and you look at history, you look at any type of, if you go back and start looking at what went on in the 60s, Martin Luther King, there was a woman right there with him. Rosa Parks. When you look at Harriet Tubman, you go back, you see a repeated cycle of women. Fannie Lou Hammond. Not as empowered.
But you're empowered.
Yes.
So what has changed where men have the role for a man or the authoritarian of a man has diminished to where a woman now and people are actually voting for women? What changed that?
I think, what changed it is I think men realize that you gotta have, the woman walking alongside of you. I think it's places and spaces that I think we got that persona where we can really like talk to women and really kind of get them trained up. Because I went through a training, Emerge, Alabama, teaching women how to be Democratic women, how to run for office. And so I think the skill set where you can embody that, into, people that are looking to do what we're doing. And it's not impossible. And so I think I think women have gained that level of respect because they got the blueprint.
I'm gonna agree but disagree with you. Okay. Don't get mad at me. Talk to me.
Okay, conversation.
And the reason why I'm gonna say this, right, because this is what I feel. My father's generation is dying now. People like myself saw our mom. And some of us, I didn't grow up in a single parent household, but some people like young men grew up in a single parent household and they knew their mom was a strong one. When my father grew up, it wasn't that way. Now we are voted, right? We're having kids that are voted. And so I think now as a man, I see that I can trust a woman. If I trust my mama, I can trust you. So for me, when I look at it, why women are more so empowered now is because you got a generation of men like me that are now saying, of course she can do it. She's like my mom, or she was my mom, or I know her, and I trust her. And people are tired of getting the same old thing from the guy. And a woman brings in a new flair to me. Because I know for me, in my whole life, as my platform has grown from radio and TV and stuff like that, I've always had a woman by me. But I've always tried to elevate women and put them on the show and put them in platforms, or sometimes even put them in positions to win. Like when I would take off on the radio, I would put a woman there and let her sit in my seat and have the show. Because why? I wanted women's voices to be out there. Because a lot of times they don't have that open door to get in. And so when I got my platform to get control of them, I started to put women in position to win. Even when I did my podcast, I put women into podcasting. I taught women how. You see, Lisa, she's on the show, right? So guess what? If I'm not here, y'all have heard her voice. If I can't be here for some reason, guess who's going to be sitting in the seat?
Lisa.
Yeah, she don't know yet.
Because you have positioned her, but that's just a person that's not selfish.
Right.
That's just somebody who knows where they're going.
Right.
And that's somebody that's not insecure. I just think a lot of times you got a lot of insecurity, with people. And we hold information. I always tell people this, even doing running a nonprofit. If I learn about a philanthropy or a funder that's funding Alabama Justice, and they asking me about organizations or people, I'm not going to shoot no shade on that organization. I call you and say, hey, I gave a funder your information.
Right.
It's up to you at this point. Because you can't hurt me because I got my repeat.
You good.
I got my
right.
my repeat cycle grant, because I've landed there. I've sold the organization who believe in the work where I get commitments. Not a 1 year. One of my grant funds, I had a 5-year commitment. They found me. So why am I, and I think that's the thing that we got to get away from. You can't hurt me, I can't hurt you. But that's a level of people that's insecure and don't know who they are.
And what God got for you, God got for you. And I always tell people this, right? Please understand that God never bring you anywhere for you and drop you off, right? It may be tough for you, but he brought you there for a reason. It's just for you to figure it out. Say, you have done some magnificent things for this city. Number one, I want to thank you for all the things that you're trying to do right now. I'm giving you flowers right now. I'm giving you a coffee right now, okay? Because I've heard marvelous things about everything you've done across the city. You're standing up for women. You're standing up for justice. You're standing up. We say black women, but I see standing up for black women, Latinos, Asians, white folks. I see standing up for everybody. I see you as a councilman for everybody, not just black people. The face is black, but your heart is for the women. So we thank you for that. What I want to talk to you about now, because now let's get to this great part, and we didn't went through the story. Councilman Tate, you're a good woman. You are it. Okay. You District 9.
Okay.
What do you got for us? What did you got going on, right? Because it's your second term now. You know, you're seasoned now. Right? So talk to your boy, right? Talk to George. Tell me what you got going on with him.
Well, right now we have I got a robust critical repair program going on.
Okay.
And I'm thankful to the mayor because he gave every counselor, you know, what we call American Rescue Act dollars.
Mhm.
And so when you look at District 9, the land mass, it's a wide district. You go from north all the way to Dover, Sherman Heights. So one of the things that I was very intentional about was the city had a critical repair program. And what I learned from that, they were only taking like 100 applicants and people had to qualify, whatever. You had to meet those federal guidelines.
Gotcha.
And so most of the people that got the critical repair were District 8 and 9. So how do I enhance it? And so the district is so big, so it's gonna always make it seem like people don't always say she's not doing anything. But when you put $1.12 billion back into the district, that's doing something. And so what that got me.
Hold on, don't skate across that. Say that number one more time, real slow, so everybody can hear what you just did.
$1.12 million of the American Rescue Act dollars.
Okay.
And so what that got me was multiple organizations doing critical repair work, facade improvement. House Proud was one of the organizations, Protecting Good, and Metro Change. And so we were able to do 125 fortified roofs in District, not in the Evergreen Bottom, Fountain Heights, Drury Hill, that little footprint.
Yeah.
And also some critical repair work. With House Proud, I'm able to get 52 houses there. We started in Wiley with 8, facade improvement, bathroom remodel, things that they needed that failed under those guidelines, electrical, still doing the work now. I invested money in dumping cameras that caught people dumping. I invested money in the Salvation Army, workforce development program, which gave those that were wanting to get CDL license, opportunity to get CDL training. Okay. What else did we do? The Tool Bank, invested money into the Fountain Heights Farm that fed 50 families, additional 50 families were receiving fresh produce to their house every week.
Okay.
So I had about 23 American Rescue Act dollar projects.
Okay.
We did some pop-ups with a company called Gooder. That we was able, I did a Thanksgiving giveaway. It was for 500 people, but we had enough food. I think it was over 1,000. Some people came for that giveaway. We had cars wrapped from 25th Avenue Baptist Church all the way to
Look
Church
at
is Chicken
that.
in
Look
North
at
Birmingham.
that.
The old church is in North Birmingham on a particular week.
Right.
And I didn't turn people down. And I know all them people were from District 9,
Right.
but that didn't matter to me.
Right.
What matters to me is being the genuine person that I am and standing up for the people. And I just tell people, you know, this ain't been easy for me. Because you're not going to be liked by everybody. But am I moved by that? Absolutely not. You don't think it is for me?
Some people don't like you.
That's on you. You need a heart transplant, not me.
Right.
But what I'm learning in this walk, and in my spiritual walk, is access is granted. You got to earn access. I don't owe you nothing but to love you. I don't mean I got to grant you access. My space is reserved for me and my mental health and my positivity. I ain't gonna let no negative influence get me off course. Sometimes I want to go there with people, but then I have to really think about who I belong.
Right.
Because when
who you represent.
Because when you start aborting your mission, you're gonna miss out on what God is. It's gonna get what God trying to get to you gonna get hard. And I think a lot of times if we meet every intricate thing that he had, the journey is a mystery. Just walk it out. And then you be like, ooh, okay.
Now, on social media, I see y'all doing your video in makeup and doing different stuff. What's all the stuff about you? I see you putting on makeup, doing little interviews and stuff. I tried to get in your inbox, but it blocked me. Your inbox told me to stop. You know what I'm saying? I had to tell Lisa to come in. So what else do you have, Councilman Tate, for the city? What's on the horizon?
Well, we got some houses going up in Pratt City that there's been a long time coming.
So you building brand new houses?
Brand new houses in Pratt City.
So who's gonna be available? I mean, do you have people already in those houses?
They are for sale now in a subdivision called Shadowbrook, which is on 2nd Street West going into Pratt City.
Okay. 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths. We got houses that going up in town. We actually just built the 3rd accelerated homeowners program.
Okay.
And I want to thank QNS Construction, Alex Smith, and Courtney Jones. Beautiful homes over in Fountain Heights.
Okay. So they're bringing the area back.
Oh yeah.
Without gentrification.
Without gentrification, and we live in it.
Okay.
We in them
So
cribs.
the median, what do those prices start at? You know?
I
you
want
remember?
to say 200.
Okay.
And if you got your own finance, you can work with the land bank,
Right.
accelerated homeowners program.
So you did it. You and the mayor did all that.
Well, it was a program that was created by the land bank. Caroline Douglas, who
Okay.
is the executive director of the land bank,
Mhm.
got with QNS Construction, and they created this accelerated homeowners program, which gets houses back into housing stock. So, the mayor does have a strong desire to keep developing and working with community development. It's just a lot going on.
It sounds like there's a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
But they got the right woman in charge.
We got the Star coming up,
The
the
who?
old Caraway development. I went to MacArthur School.
Right. So what are they doing with the Caraway? What they doing there now?
They building houses.
Okay.
Yeah, we
I haven't been over
actually
there in a minute.
we actually did a press conference with corporate realty,
Mhm.
and so they just started going over.
So are you after this term? Are you running again, or you got other aspirations? Or you
Gotta
gonna
ask Doug that.
No, now my journal is coming out of me now, right?
Because I
trying to
don't
pull some
know
stuff out.
where he gonna take me.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything in my life is guided by
Mhm.
my higher power.
Right.
Because I've gotten in my life when we start making these rude decisions,
Mhm.
we kind of get off course.
Right.
And so a lot of rude decisions, I had to learn.
First and foremost, I want to thank you for taking your time here today. A couple more questions on this week. Councilman Tate, tell me something that you feel.
God. And failing. And it's okay to fail. But every decision that I make is driven by prayer.
Mhm.
Every decision. Am I making the right decision?
Mhm.
And if I can always take it to God and wait. Waiting is not a bad thing because it keeps you from making bad decisions.
Right.
It may look bad to the public,
Mhm.
but in the end, it's gonna be big.
Let's go ahead, please. Throughout this whole interview, I've heard you extensively talk about how important he is in your life and how he's living. That's all my good. How does God speak to you? Is it a sound? Is it a reoccurring dream or something like that? How does God speak to you?
A lot of times, voice, a lot of times he'll show me. Like, I can see what is going on. Like really, literally, it's like almost it's prophetic. I can see, and I can give you an example. Like this morning, I was up at 5. Usually I'm at 4:35, I'm just my time.
Mhm.
And it puts me in a state where I can prostrate before God and listen to my worship music. Like I like Bishop Palmer.
Mhm.
So I was listening to Bow Down and Worship Him. And I was on YouTube, and the Lord spoke to me and said, the next song coming on is My Hallelujah Belongs to You. And it came on. So that's how he deals with me.
And last thing is about belief. You ready?
Yeah, I better be.
It's simple. What would you say to the 10-year-old little girl, little Tate, looking back at her now? What would you tell her?
What would I tell her, Tate? I never saw any of this coming, even though It was prophetically spoken in my life. And then when my mom was scared of us, prophets and people told my mom that your kids are gonna be some great kids and they're gonna walk in some, some realms that, that you never dreamed. And when I look over my life, I be like, oh God, and it's just prophecy that's being fulfilled. And so, having a child at a young age, and you can easily slip through the cracks. And I just thank God that I did slip. I kept going. Every time I got knocked down, I got back up. I'm reminded of the song down in McPherson. We fought in, we get up.
So you tell her to be prepared.
Be prepared. Because the road ain't gonna be easy. He never told us it was gonna be a bed of ease. He never told us it. But what he did tell us is one of my favorite verses, Philippians 4:13, that you can do anything. He said, it don't say anything, he said all. And I tell people the key words are. He didn't say maybe, some, try, all. That's the key word to that verse. You can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens you. You can do all things.
Grab that coffee.
Everything. So that's what I'm reminded of.
So as we get ready to get out of here, Councilman Tate, I'm gonna turn my shoulders to you. Listen to the camera, and you can say your constituents anything that you want to say.
First of all, I want to thank Joe Lockett for having me on his show today. You guys heard a lot about me today. I was very transparent. You learned a lot about me. This is who I am, the humble person. And what I will continue to say is be humble in everything that you do. Even God, if God has elevated you and granted you, and moving you up to levels, stay humble. Because you can easily lose if you don't. And so, again, I want to thank Joe Lockett for having me. And I'm glad to finally be here. It's Coffee with Joe. So we're out. Peace and be blessed.
No more need to be figured out, but let me know the Councilman Tate. Thank you guys for locking in with the boy. You guys have really got excited. You guys hang tight right there. Enjoy the rest of your day. And of course, always do it with love. You know how your boy feels about you, right? I love you.